Is that rising debt cost, higher interest rates, going to mean that this government can do less to help those most in need when it comes to this cost of living squeeze right now?
Well, I think what it means is that the extremely challenging circumstances for the economy as a whole has meant that the Chancellor has made some tough choices. And what he's announced today are some immediate interventions to help the most vulnerable in our society. He's increased the amount of money that people can hold on to. He's reduced the levy on fuel. That will take effect immediately and will mean £1,500 more money kept back for individuals who drive HGV vans, for example. What he's also done is he's looked at the thresholds by when you start paying national insurance, and he's increased that to the level that you start paying income tax. And that will be worth £330 to taxpayers. That's very significant. And of course, it builds on the interventions that he made in early February, where he brought in £9.1 billion of help to people to deal with the specifics of the additional energy costs that have come in. And some of that will be coming into people's bank accounts in a couple of weeks when they get their council tax bills. Now, obviously, the uncertainty that you talk about is really important because the OBR say that fiscal headroom could be wiped out by small changes. And you've also pointed to the fact that debt servicing, the debt interest cost is also increasing. That's going to be £83 billion next year. That's £1,200 for every man, woman and child in the UK. That's a significant amount of money. So obviously that has constrained the amount of support and additional help you can give households.
John, it's Kriti in New York. Rishi Sunak said during a statement that he's keeping fiscal firepower in reserve for later this year. Can you outline some of the worst case scenarios there and what measures are being held in reserve?
Well, what he's done is he's announced some clarity in terms of the direction of travel on income tax. We're going to reduce income tax in the UK in 2 years' time to 19p from 20p. But what he's also done is said that he's held some back in line with best practice to deal with that uncertainty in the economy, around 1% of GDP. And that's broadly in line with what previous chancellors have done to deal with the uncertainty over that trajectory of growth. He rightly said at the outset of this piece that growth predictions have been reduced from previous fiscal events by the OBR now to 3.8%. And obviously, it's really important that we ensure that we can fund everything go forward, but also have that room to make other interventions as circumstances evolve.
How can you fund things going forward? How can you say that, for instance, that 1p tax cut is fully funded when we don't know what's going to happen going forward? You've referenced uncertainty a number of times already. We have interest rates that are going higher. Why have you announced 2 years out an income tax cut that doesn't look like it's going to be fully funded? Because we don't know what is going to happen. We don't know what is going to happen with Ukraine. The Chancellor said that himself. He said it's fully funded, but we don't know what's going to happen because we don't know what the situation is in Ukraine. That strikes me as him saying, we don't know if this is fully funded.
No, it is fully funded. But in all fiscal events, and I've been part of several, there are evolving predictions of what will happen with the public finances. And what he's done is made that policy choice in the context of what we know now, but retained the flexibility in order to accommodate changes in growth trajectory and changes in the economy. And that's a sort of prudent way of dealing with the level of uncertainty, and that's what you'd expect from a responsible chancellor. But what he's prioritised is helping families, those pretty much on the lowest income, with the measures that I mentioned earlier.
John, Glen, today what we've seen is a significant cut to the growth trajectory of the UK economy and a significant acceleration in the impact that inflation is going to have. Is the UK economy now facing stagflation?
No, we're facing challenging times, as is the whole of the world economy, with grave uncertainty around what's happening in Ukraine, affecting confidence levels. The Chancellor also set out his determination to invest in human capital, in capital itself, physical capital, and also in ideas. And he'll be bringing forward incentives for investment in the budget in October to try and ensure that the conditions for growth in the economy are optimal so that we can get out of this by growing our way out of it and returning to higher levels of growth than are anticipated at the present time.